I don't think I'll ever be ready to be a father. I'm not that selfless to give my everything to one person just because they are my child. I think there'll be a part of me that will be too selfish to go through that process of being a father. My biggest frustration about anything in general is the fact that people want people to be what they think of them in their heads. So you meet someone and you have a notion already in your head about how you want this person to answer your question, how you want them to treat you, how you want them to behave. I hate to be alone. So half of the time, out of the need of not wanting to be alone, you enter into certain relationships that wouldn't work. But you're just there to fill that void of loneliness.
So I've been going through this book, a random, how do I say it? A random collection of thoughts, aptly named Random Crazy Thoughts. The demons in my head got loose. A raw, unfiltered, and emotionally charged collection of poetry, some prose, and of course, confessional narratives that kind of traverse the landscape of a young Nigerian man's experiences in life. But not just experiences, his inner demons, and of course his desires, his traumas, his reflections. You know, at a point during the course of the night, I asked myself, how old would my son be before I allow him read this book? Because it's raw. It's beautiful in a way, but also so raw that he doesn't even spare the language used. And I'm thinking, this is a blend of a memoir and poetry together to lay bare this young man's complicated journey through identity, through family dysfunction, depression, lost survival, heartbreak, love, and the absurdity of modern living. And I thought to myself, I got to get this guy into the studio. So here he is. Life Jacob. How are you doing, man?
I'm very good. I'm really, really good. I don't think anyone has quite captured what the book is about like you have in the past few seconds. And it's amazing to know that it's been understood like that, because that's exactly what it is.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Kept me up last night. Actually, I was awake until past 4 to 5. And, you know, it got me thinking. There are just some questions that are bubbling up in my head. I know this book is divided into 4 major sections, and I want to treat them one the other. But the first thing that crosses my mind that I want to ask you is, and I didn't want to let you know I was going to ask you this question the same way I didn't let you know I was going to ask you any question particularly.
I need to get ready for this.
Without thinking too deeply, give me one of your worst frustrations about anything. Life, your country, politics, women, anything.
I think my biggest frustration about anything in general is the fact that people want people to be what they think of them in their heads. So you meet someone and you have a notion already in your head about how you want this person to answer your question, how you want them to treat you, how you want them to behave, how you want them to interact with you. And you don't leave room for them to be themselves, because you already created a box in which they need to function and look within. And half of the time, I always look at myself like I don't conform to any kind of box that you expect naturally. Even when I'm creating, you expect me to go from A to B to C to D. How about I start from D and move forward from there, or I start from Z and come back from there? So that's my biggest frustration, that people create a narrative in their head about people, about certain things, and just expect you to be boxed into it. And it also creates these nuances that we always see, even on social media right now. They will drag you because you visit the president and you're trying to do chess with someone. They will drag you because people just would want you to fit into their own personal narrative. And sometimes your experiences and my experiences are very different. And I think that is very frustrating in itself.
I like your answer. So I'll ask you the direct opposite of that question. What is it in life that you're most excited, happy about? And I don't want you to overthink it. The first thing that comes to your mind.
This has always been a thing. The joy and the beauty of having to meet someone for the first time and having to just hear their point of view about religion, politics, women, sex, life, and everything. That in itself is cool. I'm not very outgoing, even though I look like I'm very outgoing. I'm very reserved and in my shell. But if I open up and I want to have a conversation with someone, you know, that first meeting where you don't even know where this person's head is at and the person just blows your mind away, or they give you some kind of feeling in your mind. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm expecting I hope for the best, but expect the worst from people. And that in itself is kind of fascinating and interesting to just navigate around. So I think that's my favorite part about meeting people, about the complexity of life.
Great. You know, at first look, you come across as a celebrity artist, maybe an upcoming artist at the very least, or one between upcoming and about to blow or blown, whatever. You do look like that, but you're not that, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay. What are you?
Okay, so let me put this out there. I don't think I've said this a lot. So in secondary school, I went to this secondary school where I was known for two things. I was very smart as a young chap, bookworm, always reading and everything. In between that, I found time to record some mixtape from my dad's old tape. Like, you know, this big tape, and then you just hit record, the play on the record button, I start recording. So I used to do that, and I would perform in school, then for the social activities and the rest of them. And I remember when I started growing my hair out sometime in 2017, and my first post on Facebook, people who went to the same school together would comment and say, "Oh, finally, you're living the dream of being an artist." And I said to myself, that died after I graduated secondary school.
And what were you at the time?
I was a TV producer at the time. I was producing TV shows and writing TV content, basically just being myself and being creative, even though I was learning at the time. And, you know, I learned through the process. You still keep learning every time. But then that's what I was doing. I was passionate about that. But music was never something. Although, caveat, I probably will go into the studio just for the fun of it and record the song just for the fun of it someday. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Interestingly.
Yeah.
So right now, just to be clear, if somebody was going to describe Life Jacob today in 2025, who is he?
First, I'm a writer and a general content creator is being used loosely these days, but that's what I am. I love to create content. I love to see things from just an imagination being brought to life. Like, just imagine this person moves from point A to point B, have this interaction with A and B, and then it becomes either a wonderful conversation, either it's funny, either it's just quirky, or it's just something bizarre. You know, the notion of people want to watch something, they think there should be like a moral ending to it. And like, sometimes I don't think there should be. Sometimes it should just be for the fun of it because it's good and it feels good. And so in describing me, I am that guy who wants to create something that makes someone feel good. It might not make everyone feel good, but it makes someone feel good about just saying it, either the conversation that is had. So that's who I am. I'm a writer first, and then I am a creator.
Brilliant. Let me go into this book because, you know, I've known you for years.
Yes.
And this book just really makes me feel I never knew you all that while because these are deep thoughts and all of that. I just feel like I know you from last night much more than I'd known you in the last 5 or so years or more years.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, yes, 4 parts. It starts with origins and scars and all of that. And I noticed that these are poems rooted in childhood trauma, self-discovery, parental conflict, and of course the search for identity. So I was wondering, especially from page 8, and it covers several pages. I think I made a note that's from 8 to about 33. You called your father a bastard, and then you slowly softened toward him. Is this a personal experience? What moment was it that broke your? It seemed hatred and began forgiveness, or maybe it wasn't hatred. Maybe it was something else.
So I think that's like the third poem or something. That's My Father is a Bastard. So this is more of an experience, and I wrote from most of my siblings' POVs. So I wrote from my personal POV how I saw my dad, and I wrote from my elder brother's point of view how I think he saw my dad, and I wrote from my sister's point of view, how they also saw my dad. My dad was the nicest to the ladies. Like the girls in the house, they had it smooth. But we were sort of treated with this iron hand.
That sounds like a dad to me.
Yeah. It sounds like that. And as a child growing up, that's if you go through it, it starts off being blaming, and trying to understand why this happened, why that happened, because it felt like pain that we were going through that I was going through at the time, and I was trying to just lay it bare on paper and say, oh, this is what I could have been if I had this, maybe a tap on my back or a hand across my shoulder to tell me, yeah, you made a mistake, but this can be better, and this is how you should go about it. So I was writing about that and trying to basically tell my story so that people can see it and see this is what I'm going through. Maybe someone else is going through it. And at the end, towards the end bit of it, you see me, I'm grown now, I'm older, and I understand better. And now I can tell maybe it was just looking out for me. And it's you know how people say you grow older, then you start understanding your dad. Yeah. So I'm grown now. Now I'm understanding what those struggles were for him and how he was trying to navigate through them, while also being the guy who's caring and essentially providing everything you needed at that point in time. So now I'm grown, now I understand. And then I tell myself, maybe we all shouldn't be fathers and husbands, because now I understand you have to be understanding, you have to be caring, you have to be this, you're expected to be all those things and be good and be great at them. That's too much tax to put on someone. And that's why I asked at the end, maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't all be husbands and fathers. Some of us should just live through life and know that we don't have the responsibility, so to say, to cater that much for someone.
You know, there's a saying that by the time you realize that your father was right,
you're already a father.
You would have a son who thinks
you're
wrong. So just picking up that last question, it looks like you're making an excuse for not wanting to marry. Do you want to get married at all? Do you want to have kids? Sounds like no.
Truthfully, the answer is no. If I'm being honest, I don't think I'll ever be ready to be a father. And that's solely because soul searching, deep searching, I'm not that selfless, so to say. I'm not that selfless to give my everything to one person just because they are my child or because they came out from my loins. I think there'll be a part of me that will be too selfish to go through that process of being a father. And because being a father requires you to wake up I remember my dad, after everyone has gone to bed, we wake up by, say, 1 o'clock to check all the doors in their house to see if everything is locked, check if everyone is intact and everyone is sleeping on their beds. And
I do it.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. I think I'll probably be the one who just jump on the bed and I'm done and I wake up in the morning and I don't care who else is in the house with me. So those are some of the things that I look back on and I see, would I be able to share the last piece of meat with my kid and just be like, oh, split it in different house for everyone to have a piece of it and sacrifice me not having to eat. There are very little things when you try to look at them in bits, But as a whole, is that sacrifice really necessary from everyone? I don't think so. I would be open to conversations around it to see if it's a thing, but I don't think so. And I don't think I'm ready yet. Maybe tomorrow my views about this would change. But as at now, when this is being recorded, I don't think I would want to.
I mean, your name is life. If you choose to spread more life, that's your choice. If you choose not to, it's your life,
Exactly.
your choice. So for now, it's responsibility of parenting. No. So no to being a father. How about a husband?
And yeah, I think I like the idea of having a companion, having someone. I hate to be alone. I need to put that out there. I hate to be alone. So half of the time, I think some parts of the book actually shows where out of the need of not wanting to be alone, you enter into certain relationships that wouldn't work. But you're just there to fill that void of loneliness. And I think a part of me will probably marry a lot of women just to fill that void. And it's not from a place of, you have to satisfy, you have to be comfortable in your own skin of being alone and being with yourself. Yeah, I can be by myself. But I do not want to be by myself because my thoughts around being with myself gets crazier and crazier and get darker and darker by the moment. So I would like the distraction of having someone around, whether in the living, whether in the neighborhood, whether somewhere, a voice you can hear just within the background or very close by, and a naked body so on the side. So that helps.
So no kids, but you love women. You would probably marry many. You obviously love sex a lot.
Very much.
And yet no children. Good luck with that. Let's just go to this thing. I'm on page 17 of your book now. I don't even know you. And here you are talking about, yes. You're talking about losing a twin you never knew. How does grief for someone who never lived shape how you love and live today?
You know how? Okay, so this is backstory. I was born a twin. It never happened.
Taye or Kainde?
I don't even know. we don't even know. So that's the thing. She never made it out alive. So, but then there's this nudging feeling you just feel at the back of your head, like someone is telling you, "Oh, this is good." It feels like that yin yang feeling that someone is on your shoulder and telling you, just trying to, when Coldplay sang the song "Lights Will Guide You Home." I feel like the light is maybe this twin I never met and someone I never knew about, but it just feels like there's a voice in my head that tells me every now and again, this is what you need to do, this is what you don't need to do, this is how you need to go about it. And I just felt it was it's only going to be nice for me to write something about someone who lives in my brain that I can't really share with people, and I can't really tell their existence because there's no physical evidence to them existing, but somewhere I just feel it and I know it that it's there.
Brilliant. So I've gone to page 30 of this book. And that's under, I guess, some dead-ass truths about me.
Yeah.
Your book compels me to use colorful language. It will be the first time I'm using colorful language on any medium. You wrote, "I slit my wrists and nearly bled out. Now all my self-love gets called vain." Can you unpack that paradox? How pain led to your self-confidence?
So I remember growing up was kind of hard for me. Like, now I pack my hair up so people can see my ears very loudly. So I try to show it off to people so people can get to see it. So I was bullied a lot growing up. I was called Itiaja, Itiolongbo, that kind of thing, like big ear.
You have elven ears, by the way, and they're beautiful. I only noticed them, was that 2 days ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. Now they are beautiful to me. Before now, it used to be one of the things I hated the most about myself. People would say a whole lot of things about me. I walk past place, that's the first thing people see. That's what they want to tell you about. So it became like a demon I lived with. And half of the time I grew out my hair. afro so that I would just cover it a little.
That's
so
why I never noticed it those
so
years.
the afro would cover it a little, and he kept on going, but the bullying never stopped. Like I don't know if I should call it bullying. I just feel like now it's more like what's it called now? Character development. So it never stopped, and people would just come and say what they have to say over and over and over again. And I kept and I felt ugly, like really ugly. And it got to a point I was out of school. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I was staring towards abyss. So it felt like this one smart kid does not know what to do with his life. And I was just there. I would stare into thin air and be lost in the theory of nothing. And I became very sad. Now it's depression and the rest. Then we didn't know it was called depression. I just felt this is how I was feeling. I couldn't explain it, but that's how it was. And then one day I went to the bathroom and I picked up a blade and I slit my throat. I slit my wrist, and it was bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. And then I was almost bleeding out. And then I realized I really don't want to die like this. At least let me live with a bang. This is not bang enough. Plus, again, back to the voice in my head, I kept telling me, "Nah, we want to disappoint both of us now," and I just felt like, oh, and I picked myself up. I got to the chemist down the road. That's what we called it. The chemist down the road, put some plaster, treated it, and that was the moment it shifted for me in my head, and I knew, there's more to life than thinking this is it. Because then it felt like everything was bleak. I had just left home. I wasn't talking to my parents and everyone in the house. So it was just me, myself, and I in a very cold world. I was very young. I think I was about 21 at the time. And it just felt like life was happening to me. And I didn't realize how young I was, that life had not even started happening. And then I picked up myself and I said to myself, nah, you're beautiful, you're strong, you're capable, you're nice. I started wearing colors more, because then it was just all black and everything. Anyone who knows me then will see you're just wearing. So I started wearing colors more. I started smiling more. I started talking to people more. I started looking people in the face and have this conversation with them about how I feel and how I felt. I discovered writing was an escape too. So I would write about everything I was feeling and demons in my head. That's why I kept calling it. I've always called it that. I write about the demons in my head, and that helped me. And then I started having this self-love, and I was so confident about myself. People would say, you're so vain. I walk into the room, I'll be fine boy now. People like, you're so vain. I'm like, you don't know how hard I had to struggle to get to this point that you are calling vain. And that's why all the self-love I have now, people call it vain, but it's just a reminder for myself to know that I don't want to sit back into that guy.
How old were you again when you slit your wrist?
I was 21.
21. So let me come. So I came back a bit to page 19, where you had, I have just one job.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this. You said, it goes to page 21, 3 pages of that. And there's this part where you said, this isn't a pity party. It's a silent soliloquy. I'm looking at it like that. Yes, it's a silent soliloquy. But let's be real. Life, do you ever feel seen, or are you still performing for applause?
Truthfully, that's a question I probably would never have the perfect answer to. I don't think I feel seen. And that's one of the reasons why this book needed to come out. I wanted to feel seen. I don't think people understand how my head works as much as I know it to work. And half of the time, each time I talk about it, like the one you're reading, I just have one job, dark sunglasses and a smile and a warm smile. And people think it's me trying to show how depressed and how dampened I am. That's why I said it there. It's not a pity party. It's just a soliloquy and a reminder in my head that no one cares. No one really gives two Fs about what you're going through. You just have to show up with a smile. And if you need to wear dark sunglasses to cover up the red eyes and everything you're going through, yeah, you have to. And I really do not feel seen. I think there's a whole lot coming from me, even from my own POV. I think to myself half of the time, are you really doing enough to be seen? Are you just masking around and trying to just fit into a stereotype or a crowd-like thing? And half of the time, yeah, we live our life just trying to fit in and get by. But with the writing of this book, and this is a constant reminder that I do not want to fit in anymore. I want to be like a standalone person who says, this is how my voice should be heard and this is how I want everyone to hear it. So now it's up to me now to feel seen, to feel heard, to actually get out to be heard. And thanks for this outside the box, so I can say what's actually not in my own box so people can also hear it.
So I'm going to leave origins and scars in a bit and move over to love in transit, where my first question will be about polyandry. It's going to come soon. But before we leave this, because of what you said, I have 4 boys. And I have a 20-year-old, I have an 18-year-old, I have a 12-year-old, and I have a 5-year-old. They're all boys. So I'm like, fortunately for me, I've been pretty fortunate, but I think you need a little more than just good fortune. You need to put in the work. But I count myself really, but I have good kids. But, I feel that I understand the older kids. But now I have a 12-year-old, brilliant, lovely kid. And then I have a 5-year-old. And you know what they say? Once you have multiple children, don't be sure they are all going to turn out right. So I have this fear. So, and pretty difficult because suicidal thoughts. I had suicidal thoughts for a brief fleeting moment when I was 15. And my own case was that it was the most horrible time for me. My mom was not around. She'd traveled, she'd gone away with my immediate older brother and my youngest brother. It was just, in the house, it was just me. My eldest brother lived alone. It was just me, my dad, and my younger sister, who's my older sister. And I remember this December 25. We were just 3, and my dad wanted me to do stuff in the house. And I didn't want to do stuff in the house. My friends were going out. We had to go play football. And there were some other things we wanted to do. But my dad was very particular about activities on Christmas Day and all of that. He needed me to stay in the house and cook. And I'm like, my sister's 2 years younger. I'm 15. My sister's 13. I'm like, why can't she cook? I got a place to go. So I refused to cook. My dad is upset with me. And I go sit by the staircase. One thing led to another. A neighbor had a conversation with me over the fence. I go over the fence. I have to climb to elevate myself over the fence. The fence has very sharp
spikes,
bottles. And I put my hand, I'm 15 and foolish, right? And I have this conversation with the woman who asks about my mom. When is your mom coming back? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, bye-bye. And then I try to get off the fence. I was standing on the tire. The tire moved. I was massacred. And I spent the rest of the day in the theater, 8 hours in the theater. They were trying to patch me up. So, and then the weeks after that, I fell into depression. I could not even have a bath for 2 weeks. My right arm was hung up for 2 weeks. I could not move around. But the blood had changed from red to black, and I could smell myself. And even when I got off that stage, I had fallen into a depressive state. And when I got better one day, I thought of killing myself. It didn't last. It was a fleeting thought. But so I know how it is. And because I have boys too, I'm like, so I asked my older kids, have you ever felt like, they're like, nah. I'm like, okay, thank God.
Yeah.
But the younger ones are coming and they're going to go through those difficult years. So thinking about suicide, sometimes conversations when people have these thoughts, these inner demons that push you out, there's a connection made to faith, religion, and all of that for you. You, on the other hand, have you been a person of faith, or do you have another route?
So, so funny story. I used to go to Assemblies of God with my mom, and it was a big thing. I almost went to Bible school. Anyway, I read a lot of the Bible, and because my mind was so inquisitive about several things, I had loads of questions that felt unanswered, even from the Bible and everything. I would ask questions. I would ask questions about, if God so loved us, why are we going through this? Why are we broke? Why are we doing this? Why is this happening to us? Because it felt like I was going through a whole lot at the time, and the questions were never ending, yet no answers. And there's a part where I said I lost my faith. I think the first one I said I lost my faith. And that's truth. I lost it. Till today, I still don't believe. I just think there's a God above me. I'm God of everything else. I don't do religion. I don't seek any solace from religion and everything. I just tell myself, whenever I feel some type of way down, feel like I'm out, I just remind myself that, this is not the end. This is not how we should end. This not the fat lady has not sang yet, so so the show should not be closing. So I need to get to the end of it, and that's a constant reminder in my head that I tell myself every time. And it's okay to cry, it's okay to beat yourself up, but don't ever let it wallow a little too long. And that's my own way of coping. Some people say you probably need therapy, and the rest of them, which is fine. I don't have therapy money, so I have to remind myself that that's how it needs to be.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question about these inner demons. Maybe I should ask you now before I translate the term inner demons, especially for a young man in Lagos. If somebody asks you, what are your inner demons? How do you experience? How do you describe?
So how I describe it is the conflict that goes on in a human mind, and that is the demon. Half of the time, I don't know. I think I read it somewhere in psychology. I think it says the human mind is innately wicked. That's the first, because we're supposed to survive.
It's actually in the Bible.
Yeah. The human mind is built on survival. If you get into a situation, the first thing you're looking for is survive. Whether you need to get through someone to survive, that's the first thing that comes to your head. And there's this conflict that goes on and on and on, especially in my head, about how to survive, where things you need to do. And it's a regular conflict. And in dealing with them, I write about them. So I write about, even before this, the subtitle that says the demons in my head got loose, I've always called it demons in my head. Sometimes I'm sitting there, I'm having a full-blown conversation with myself, and I used to call it my inner demons. So I'm having full conversation about how this is going to go. Even sometimes when I'm trying to talk to a girl, like I have the conversation first in my head with that person pictured as the demon in my head, and we have that back and forth, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this works. This is the perfect conversation to have with someone else before the actual conversation happens. And sometimes even the person who's responding to it, it feels like I'm guiding you towards how I want the answers to go, so that it feels like whatever I pre-planned or pre-played in my head is actually coming to force. So that's been my demon. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's in between, and it's just meh. But the demons are always there lurking.
Okay. So let's go. So I find myself now on page 35 of your book, where the second segment starts. And this is where you talk about love in transit, starting with head first.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's this quotation. I mean, this part, you dedicate about 38 pages to this part on relationships, sex, vulnerability, heartbreak, and all of that. So is this quote that I want to take. It's on page 37 to 39. So the part, you say, from loving like Lagos traffic to writing sex as both healing and horror. What's the most confusing thing sex has ever taught you about yourself, man?
That sex is sex and emotions are emotions. People tend to cloud them together, and people say, oh, you have to be emotionally involved to have sex. And I think that's a big lie. I think because we idolized the idea of sex, maybe through religion, and it became a thing like you need to wait for the right time to have sex. You need to do this. You need to plan. So people over fantasize about the process even rather than the act itself. The act itself is just pump, 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 pump. You come and everybody goes. That's what the art is. And sometimes that singular art can lead to a lot of clarity. There's a particular one I said, what's your favorite color? And I was trying to gloss about half of the time, boy meets girl, boy sees girls, boy pictured you naked in his head. And it's like, okay, I'll probably like to lay with this person. And then in between, maybe the second and the fourth time you guys lay together, you start seeing things about or hearing things about this person that you kind of find interesting. And then you ask them, what's your favorite color? Maybe now we can have a proper conversation about, because now the sex is not clouding whatever it is. Because people lie a lot. People go through the ritual of lie to a girl, go out on multiple dates. And after they are done with the dates and then they now have the sex and then they leave them and start ghosting. I don't want... I think people should be honest enough to be like, I find you sexually attractive.
And I just want to sleep with you.
I just want to sleep with you. If the consent is there, by all means, you guys sleep with each other. And I'm very sure there's this thing about humans. No matter how insanely pretentious we are, after a few times, we tend to loosen up and then forget how much we're pretending in our head, and the naturality of our personal self starts showing.
That is true.
So once that starts, but then this person has
some of us quicker than I can only pretend for 2 seconds.
Exactly.
It's too much energy.
It's too much energy too.
I have to remember stuff. I don't have time for it, so I'll go straight to how I am.
So why don't you just go straight to the same thing applied to? Just go straight to having sex with this person when you're not having sex. This person is naked in front of you. What else would they be possibly hiding?
But you did mention a whole lot of clarity. You know, when you've done it like that, it leads to a lot of clarity. But it also leads to a lot of unintended consequences, STDs, unwanted pregnancies, and all of that. Do you think about that?
I think right now we live in a world where those can be prevented. STDs, unwanted pregnancies, there are ways to prevent those.
But they say none of the ways available is 100% secure.
The chances are slimmer. That's what everyone is trying to protect. Even if the chances look very, very, at least reduce the chances of it happening. Like if you wear a condom, at least you reduce it to like about 98%. That's 2% chance of it happening. You might be unlucky. That's on you. Maybe the gods of your village are choosing to punish you for whatever it is. But reduce the chances and then make these things work. After that is done, everyone is clear. There's clarity, post-nut clarity. Everyone is clear now. Now we can look at ourselves and have real conversation about, do I really want to spend another minute with this person? Do I really want to go on a date with this person now? Do we need to take this to the next level or not?
On page 58, you wrote to the girls I was unavailable to.
Yeah.
If they were listening now, if they are watching this, which one would you want to say I'm sorry to the most?
So the one I want to say I'm sorry to the most is probably my ex-girlfriend. I don't know if you've
had many ex-girlfriends.
Yeah, many exes, but if you're watching Atinuke, that's her. I think she came into my life at the point where I was also trying to discover myself. I was trying to figure out what it is that I wanted about life and everything. And I promise half of the relationship I was basically with other people. Even though I liked her as much as I did. I'm not even going to go and rub it around and say, oh, you don't like this person. I liked this person. I was in love with this person. I liked the idea of her and who she was to me at that time. And everything was so good. Some people will say I'm still hung up on her, but it was really nice. But at the same time, I was doing every other thing. There's an open letter in the book to her. So I was doing every other thing, which she later found out, and she's like, man, how do you like me this much and still do these other things? And I'm like, yeah, at that point, I can't explain it. I can't drag you along with me into the darkness that I was at the time. But if there was anything that happened to me in my head, I knew that I would care for you, cater for you and everything emotionally. But that part of me just wasn't something that was that I could kill at the time. So I still went about and did all the rubbish that I did, which later ended to the demise of the relationship. So to her, apologies. I'm sorry.
Understandable. Would you take a second chance with Atinuke if you could?
Without thinking, yes. Without thinking.
Do you feel it might be too late?
I think so.
Interesting. Let's move on. I'm on page 62 now. What's your favorite color?
Yeah.
So here you admitted, and I quote, I want to know, it's the F word, so I have to blip it. I want to know I can blip you before I vibe with you. Do you think that mindset has cost you in any way, particularly in terms of, I don't know, has it cost you one true shot at love?
Yeah, I think it probably has, because I don't think about it too deeply. So it probably might have. I probably might have met someone who would have probably been the most amazing thing after jollof rice, but because I would want to do that first, like before we vibe, because I don't want to just jump in and then we are having like the best conversations and it's good and it's nice, and then we get to the sex part and it's not as good as I would want it to be. Because truthfully, I am very sexual. So I don't want it to get to that point and then I get disappointed and then I have to now pretend like I'm not, because we already have this connection and vibe going, and that's going to become a problem like later. So I just want us to get it out of the way. And when that's out of the way, then we can move on with every other thing. But then that has also cost me, because I've met people be like, nah, we have to go through traditional means of go out a couple times, go out on dates, talk, get to know you before any of that happens. And because sometimes I don't want to be that vulnerable, I just let it slide. So maybe I've missed out on the love of my life. Who knows?
So before I leave this section on love, you'd mentioned earlier that you feel that you might marry many wives. So I don't know what that means. Whether whether it means you may not last long in a marriage and you may need to get out of one and marry another, or whether you are thinking of polyamory.
The beauty will be polyamory.
Yes.
The beauty in itself will be polyamory. Like, it will be too beautiful.
So an open relationship between you and two or more women.
Yeah, that would be the ideal, beautiful thing to do. But because we are very pretentious and we're not as open-minded as we usually would claim we are, especially in this part of the world, so we'll probably do one at a time.
You know what? So let's leave love. Yeah. I'll go to survival code. So I've come back to page 19 here. Your survival codes here, you talk about, hustle. You also mentioned depression, addiction, daily struggle. What have you ever been addicted to?
Still addicted to alcohol. I think if I probably live in the Western world, I'll probably be going to one of those AA meetings every now and again. But in Nigeria, we do not think alcoholism is like a big deal, because everyone drinks, at least to quell whatever rubbish is going on in their head. People tend to drink to just fulfill, all right, people drink for the fun of just drinking. It doesn't have to be an occasion. It doesn't have to be, you just come back and be like, please let me just take 2 shots of whatever. They even sell it in sachet these days, and you just pick one, tear it open, and then
some people even drink to deal with their drinking addiction problems.
Yeah, people drink to they say the best cure for hangover is another set of drinking. So I think that's the thing I'm most addicted to, and I tend to want to drink alcohol because it's my escape route to almost anything. If I feel bad, I want to drink. If I feel good, I want to drink. I know it's a bad thing, and yeah, this is confession right here. Maybe someday I'm going to stop alcohol, but right now, nope.
Okay.
I'll drink to that too.
Your life. It's your life, your choice. On page 19, you wrote about depression with stunning imagery. I mean, look at this. Dark sunglasses and warm smiles. So when was the moment you knew this wasn't just sadness? or something more?
So my life has been like a roller coaster of different emotions. Like if I say different emotions, I mean different emotions. This moment you are good, you have your life. I think I wrote that after I'd left TV, and people would normally call you on a regular basis and say they depended on you for almost everything. Imagine going from being someone people depend on for everything in terms of creativity and the rest of them, and then you go like 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 months, and no one is calling your line to say, hey, hi, how are you even doing? Because you're out of the system, you're not there anymore. No one, you feel like you died and people moved on with their lives and you are there. Only that you're not dead. You're still seeing everything. You're still following them on social media. You're still seeing them go about their lives like nothing happened. And the only way to deal, it makes you slip into this dark place that I would go. If it feels like going in and out, like I would just go. I went there and I was there. I was stuck there for a long period of time, and I didn't want to see anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was just writing and just doing everything that I could do, just at the corner of my bed. And thank God I found gym, so that helped a lot. Like I would go to the gym.
When you say thank God you found gym, it sounded like I almost thought you were going to say thank God I found Jesus.
No, I found the gym.
Okay.
And I would go there and walk out. Like I would stay hours and people ask, what are you doing here? I just wanted, because there was this quiet that I would feel in there, and that helped. And I just used that energy, expended that energy into writing about everything that I was feeling, because I needed. And that's why this book is very important to me. Like I just wanted people to see that you're not the only one in this struggle. There are people who actually has gone through it. And I hope anyone who comes in contact with it, especially when they read about the survival codes or the origins, they understand that, you're not alone.
Interesting thing. I mean, when you mentioned gym now, I remember a time many years ago, when you and I were younger. We played football together for years.
Yeah.
And you played football so elegantly and so well. And I remember saying to myself, all life needs is to get into a gym and to build some muscle, gain some strength. I was to find out in recent times that compared to your brother, you weren't, you had a brother who was an actual footballer.
Then growing up, they used to call him Maradona. It was the reason why I would leave their house. I would just sneak behind him and just hold his boot for him. It was a joy just sitting down, touchline, and just watch him play. Like he was mesmerizing. Like he was called for someone to be called nickname Maradona. He should understand. Like he was that good. Like he was so good. Every coach in the neighborhood wanted him to play for them. I remember then, before Tai was scouted, and we used to play in the same team, Juventus. Then they used to call them Juve in the demo then. So he was so good, and the only joy I derived from it was just watching him play. And half of the time, me knowing how to play was a function of watching him play and trying to play like he did, and that was the influence. So when you said I can really play football, I'm like, when people say I can really play football, I'm like, no, I know someone who can play football. I just manage on the pitch, and that's it. But then, like I said, my father. So he also didn't make that dream come true, because he wanted everyone to go to school. He had ideas about what he wanted. That's typical old mentality of you have to go to school, you have to read books, that is the way, or that's the only way to get it, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, welcome to Parenting 101 back in the day.
Yeah.
So I've jumped to page 84. Here there's something you said here. Prayers in the shape of Prozac. Felt like a suicide note disguised as a poem. You did mention you had attempted suicide as a 21-year-old, but even though you've shared that information, at this point, I'm looking at it artistically. I think you don't use words carelessly. You give it thought. So have you ever had a moment during those times when you felt like art literally saved your life?
Yeah. Prayer in the Shape of Prozac was actually a real life event. I remember then, I still have the prescription pill for that. I would wake up, I had like heavy anxiety bouts, and I would wake up late, like in the middle of the night, sweating, trying to catch my breath. And one of the time I just said, oh, let me even go to the hospital and find out what it is. And I was talking to the doctor, and he recommended that I go see a psychiatrist somewhere in Yaba. And I went there. I had only one session with the person, and he wrote me that, the prescription. And I can't see how people would be addicted to pills. And I took it. After you start taking this pill and start feeling good, like your breath is better, you're feeling good about yourself. And after a while, I said to myself, man, this feeling is good. I don't want it to end. Even though the drugs that ended, I met this pharmacy, made friends with him, and I was able to slip him the prescription, and he was able to give me, and it became like a thing. Each time I felt that way, I would just run to the prescription. And it was a thing for like 6 months, and I had to tell myself, nope, this is how people become drug addicts, and they start depending on a fix to be good with themselves. And I had to. It was very hard detaching myself from it, but it worked. So when I said prayer in the shape of Prozac, it was like, because that's the Prozac gives you this. So I'm like, I want, if you're saying a prayer for me, just say it in the shape of that, so that I can have this calmness and this head in my head. So that it was just an artistic way of saying, pray for me, but that's what I really need. But let me pray out.
Yeah, pray for me, but please give me something to drink.
Exactly.
So I'm on page 30, which is where you end some dead as truths about me. Your last line there is, so here's to me, raise a glass, well done, a-hole.
Yeah.
But that's not even the point I'm trying to drive. This is just a bit above there, where you said, I'm always a little sad because I'm still chasing a girl named Happiness. Are you closer to finding her, or are you still ghosted?
Still ghosted. Still ghosted. I think someone called me, someone who really does care about me, called me and said, are you happy? And in my head, I'm like, I can't really answer that question, because sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm excited, but there's this little sadness that comes from not having the happy ending you want. And the happy ending is the happiness. Is the girl called Happiness. So it was just like a play on words.
I know.
So I'm just saying, like, it just feels like I'm not there yet. So why should I be exactly happy? And I think I still carry this sadness in my heart. And it's not from a place of I need help from people or something, or I'm going through something in my head. I just think, is this unending thirst for getting it right, making it perfect, making it good? And then I'm just trying to get to that place. And that is what's searching for the girl Happiness. And that was written I think that was written on my birthday. I woke up that morning, it was 2 years ago on my birthday, and I woke up that morning and I said to myself, raise a glass, you at least, you're still looking for the happiness, but then you're trying your best. And that's the constant reminder that I give myself on a regular basis, to tell myself that this is it. You are not there yet, so just keep at it.
On page 102 through to 104, yes, you wrote something called Use the Bridge. But that mosquito poem, Use the Bridge, it brilliantly blends Lagos chaos with existential fear. I'm just thinking, is it true you almost died crossing the express?
Yeah. That was born out of true life. I stayed in Agungi at the time. So there's this bridge on Agungi, and the bridge is always very dark at night, and I was always back at night. So if I stop at the bus stop, so there's this drama in my head, use the bridge or just run across the road. The bridge is dark. Anything can happen there. You can get mugged. You can get robbed. robbed, whatever, anything can happen on that bridge. So there's no light on it. And in my head, so that day I was like, should I not? So I just said, no, let's cross. While I was thinking that in my head, I didn't bother to check the road. And that's how I was running across. And this curb almost ran me over. And then I was just there like, you know when you're laying on the floor and you're looking at the bridge, like, use the bridge. If not, this is what happens. But at the same time, you are also gambling with what the unknown of using the bridge dark at, say, 11 p.m. at night. Anything can happen. Anyone can just come with you with a knife and the rest of them. I remember an incident that happened to me at Oshodi a very long time ago. It was at night. I was trying to use the bridge. I was trying to do the right thing. And then someone put a knife on me, like punched out my rib cage, took my phones and everything in my pocket at the time. So that conflict is there, and that's what's better. That although I tried to make it funny at the at the end, where I spoke about the downfall driver having bad breath and the rest of them. So that was like just trying to be lighthearted about certain situations that are happening and are still currently happening. People get mocked on a regular basis on Lagos bridges, pedestrian bridges, and the rest of them. At the same time, you can't just cross the express. Kai will also even arrest you if they catch you earlier in the day. So there's that troubled mind about use that or use this.
So let's leave love and let's come to this section, which is ghosts in the room.
Yeah.
Essentially, you start to write this from page 107, I would think, towards, literally all the way to the end. Here, you look at shame, you look at desire, taboo, intrusive thoughts, those kind of thing. On page 112 here, you write brother Egunlofun or something.
Yeah, but Egunlofun.
Egunlofun, and it starts, Ace, fine girl. Along, I do ever. Producer, please bleep that nonsense. That part. But very strong words. So and you use words quite evocatively. And I guess you are also trying to stay true to the experience. So this is the part that interests me. There's this poem here about fantasizing over a tout. The so-called brother Egunlofun. Yeah, what does that say about? I mean, let me not interrupt you.
That's a true life story, by the way. Although it was embellished, so I would normally just go sit at the bus stop. Then when bus stops had proper seats and people could sit there and just wait for buses, so I would just go there and just sit and watch everyone just do their thing. It's a thing I do if I'm not working. I just go sit there and cross my leg and just observe whatever is going on. And there's this guy, his name is Egunlofun. He stays in the area. Everyone knows him in the neighborhood. So he's an agbero, so to say. He has this voice. So he's called me Egunlofun. Like he has like
Egunlofun.
Yeah. So if he sees any fine girl pass, the first thing that he sees, yeah, fine girl. So he would normally do that. So this day, this girl, hair tied, no earrings, clutching a Bible and just walking past. And he said that he's, and he said, my friend, and the girl turned, looked at him in a very, very, maybe I might be interested kind of way.
Whoa.
I don't know. Like, this is me just guessing. Like, the way she turned and looked, I interpreted as she might just be interested in whatever he's selling. And that sparked that in my head. I'm like, what if she's interested in what he's selling?
Yeah, because the question in my head is what this poem says about how society polices this desire, especially feminine desire.
Exactly. Because I've read a couple of times and I've seen a couple of women say about, I like the bad guy, I like the bad boy, I like the bad boy, I like the bad boy feeling. Girls want to be with the bad guy, they want to be with the bad boy, they want to see you tough, see you look like you have scars, look like someone can't just run you over. So, and that sparked that. I'm like, what if, who's going to say, oh yeah, he has to wear a suit and tie, he has to look some type of way, and he has to be tailored some type of way for you to desire this person. And that's what that was about. It was about, now this guy has cars. I want to just run my hands around these cars and let him tell me about these cars. Let him hit me like the tailboards of the buses he chases. Let him chase me around like he's chasing one bus trying to collect a whole garage.
Yeah,
It was
it's
just
a cock and hen story.
Yeah, those thoughts. And I think maybe someone has had that thought, maybe not, but at least you enjoy seeing it that desire should not be caged or should not be put into a box.
The last part I'm looking at is this book. In that this last part about where you talk about ghosts in the room, is here on page 108, which is to the girls I walked in on in the bathroom stall. Yeah, you wrote from the POV of a high class escort and a trafficked girl who nearly had sex with a dog. What made you brave enough to go there creatively?
So there are so many untold stories about different people. So I once met someone a long time ago, and she was telling me a Italy story. Let me say that, like she said, Italy. The people I go Italy, and then this happened. So she was telling me the story about how she went to Italy and how the entire monies who she was going to pay some cash to, who she's going to do some things to, and then she gets there and she's taken to one apartment of sorts, and she got there and the white guy walks in and she's like, okay, white people, I heard say that Golan are the big, so she was okay with it, only for the guy to signal for a dog to come in, and then she sees the dog and she's like, what's the dog doing here? He said, the dog's here to have fun with you, and she lost it. She came back to Nigeria and all that. So in trying to play with it, I sort of flipped it around and I said, what if she actually slept with the dog? And the excuse is, after all men are dogs. That's what women tend to claim to say. And that's what I flipped it with, and tried to give her a reason why she would have done it and still be very okay with it.
Interesting. Random crazy thoughts. The demons in my head got loose. I wouldn't read this book if my mind is closed.
Yes.
And I'm not adventurous, but goodness gracious, what a book. Just one final question. Do you put yourself, I know we're talking outside the box, do you put yourself in the box of the Altair lifestyle? What are your thoughts on it?
I don't think I put myself in any box. I just get comfortable with whatever skin I choose to at that point in time. There are sometimes I just decide to look very corporate and very nice, but my hair wouldn't let me sometimes. But I just pack it back and just let myself be corporate and be nice. Half of the time, I'm very Altair, wear more rings and wear necklaces that are very, wear big pants and the rest of them. So I dress according to my mood. I look according to my mood. I talk according to my mood. Sometimes I wake up and I want to just wear shorts for the rest of the week. And I tell myself I'm wearing shorts all through the week, no matter where I'm going to, no matter what I'm meeting with. I'm just going to wear shorts. If you like me, that's. If you don't, I don't know. If you don't want whatever is in my head first, everything else is just secondary. How I look, I hate the whole idea of you are dressed how you are dressed. Like it was fun back in the day, but right now I don't think it should be. It should be something people look up. People should be judged by the content of their character and not by the color of their skin or how they look. So the content should really be what should intrigue you. And I've been opportune to have conversation with people, and people be like, I didn't think you were going to blow my mind. They were like this. And I want that every time. I want to look very unserious, and then we start talking, and then you say, okay.
I'm one of those people, by the way, because I've known you for years and you've always been quiet, decent, and I've always liked you, like really, really liked you. And, but I never put you for someone so these deep, and these are really deep things you say in this book. Where do people get it from?
Yeah, it's available everywhere. It's available on Amazon. It would be on Roving Heights too. And it would, in Roving Heights bookstore, you can walk in there and just pick a copy. You can also get it on themainbookie.com and also on Seller. Seller is a platform where you can buy anything pretty much. So you can search for the book Random Crazy Thoughts, and you can also get it from there. Or you can place an order on my Instagram page. Just check my Instagram page at Life Jacobs, and it will be delivered to you wherever you are. It's a great book. I know it's not for everyone. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea.
Keep your little children off it.
Yeah. It's rated, very rated. that's there. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. But if you ever feel like you've struggled once upon a time in your life, or you've been through something that you couldn't explain, this would help you navigate through that. You're not the only one. A couple of us are brothers in this struggle, and it's going to be like a conversation starter for people who are open-minded and willing to just listen.
It's a fantastic book. I hope someday this book gets turned into like a movie or a collection of stories acted out. You're a TV producer. Make it work. What a story it would be. It's fantastic.
We so I shared with a couple people, and they're like, "Oh, we should reenact this. Some of the
I think you should."
And in my head, I'm like, "Yeah, it should be."
I think you should.
It's something
I think you should. My very good Aburo. Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Well done.
Thanks for having me.
Well done. Yeah.